Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are dealing with the development of thyroid gland. Now before going to the development of thyroid gland, I am just going to review few things which is essential to follow up the development. Okay. Now what happens before the formation of head and tail fold? Here we can see there is a already development of head fold and the tail fold, and this occurs at the age of 21st day of the intrauterine life. So before the 21st day of intrauterine life, we can see that the orientation of the developing the procaudal plate, neural plate, primitive streak, they are occurring along the midline. So here you can see that there is a pericardial cavity has been formed. The future septum transversum is there. The procaudal plate has been developed. The neural plate has been developed along with the somite development with the primitive streak and the cloacal membrane. So before 21st day, we are getting all these structures in a developing stage. Now, by the 21st day of the intrauterine life, there is a formation of a head fold along with the tail fold. Now in this, we can see that there is a pericardial cavity. Okay. So pericardial cavity is lying ventral to the head region or the head fold. Now below this pericardial cavity, you can see this pink area. So this pink area is it's actually the heart tube. So in this we can see that the heart tube is lying beneath the pericardial cavity. With the progression of the time, the pericardial cavity gradually increases in size, and there will be the development in the embryo. So with that development, we can see that the heart tube now lie along the roof of the pericardial cavity, and there is a development of buccopharyngeal membrane as well between the neural plate and the pericardial cavity. Now here you can see that the septum transversum was lying cranial to the head fold, and now the septum transversum has become caudal to it. Okay, so this is the septum transversum lying caudalate. This is the pericardial cavity. Above the pericardial cavity we are getting the heart tube, and there is a buccopharyngeal membrane has been developed. Now the most important thing in this buccopharyngeal membrane is that the lining of the buccopharyngeal membrane is known as a stomatodeum. Okay, so the lining of buccopharyngeal membrane is known as a stomatodeum, which is important when we will study about the pharyngeal arch. So this is the yolk sac. There is a development of diverticulum which is known as the allantoid diverticulum. Obviously this diverticulum will further develop into it will communicate with the hindgut and it will form the vitellointestinal duct. Okay, this is the primitive streak and there is a cloacal membrane. This pink line is the notochord development, and this hole is the amniotic cavity. Now in this diagram, you can see that there is outpouching has been seen. Okay, so this outpouching is the development of the pharyngeal arch, which is present in between the stomatodeum. I told you that the stomatodeum is the lining epithelium of the buccopharyngeal membrane. So this is the head region and this is the heart region. So head and the heart is separated by the stomatodeum. Okay, the lining which forms the buccopharyngeal membrane. Now here you can see I am not mentioning anything about the neck. Only I have told about the heart and the heart. So till now there is no development of the neck. Neck is formed as the heart will descend downward. So neck is formed by the elongation of the region between the stomatodeum and the pericardium. Now so neck is formed by the elongation of the region between the stomatodeum and the pericardium. So this is the outpouching is actually nothing but the mesodermal thickening, and because of the mesodermal thickening we are getting the arch formation which is known as a pharyngeal arch. Now this pharyngeal arch are 6 in number. So they will develop like this, okay. Initially the buccopharyngeal membrane is there, so they are forming the floor of the pharynx. So floor of the pharynx, if you will see, it will be lined outside by the ectoderm, inside by the endoderm, and in between there will be the mesoderm. Pharyngeal arch is 6 in number. First arch, second arch, third, fourth, fifth disappears, and the sixth arch. So fifth will come and fifth will go. So fifth arch will disappear soon after the formation. The named arch are the first arch and the second arch. The first arch is known as a mandibular arch, and the second arch is known as a hyoid arch. And here you can see this is the cavity of the pharynx. Obviously both the arches, in between there is a buccopharyngeal membrane, and there are outpouching, you can see. So this all outpouching are the endodermal pouches, okay. And there is a cleft formation, so these are the ectodermal cleft formation is there. Now with this you can see the development of the thyroid gland. Now in between the first arch there will be the formation of a swelling, okay, and this swelling is known as a tuberculum impar. So this tuberculum impar is a midline swelling that separates the mandibular arch of the both side. Now beneath the tubercular impar there is a depressed area that is known as a foramen caecum. Now from this foramen caecum only there will be the development of a diverticulum, which is known as a thyroglossal duct. Now this thyroglossal duct will develop, and at the end it will divide into two parts. So it will become bifid, okay, and gradually from this bifid end only there will be the development of a thyroid gland, okay. So this is the thyroglossal duct and this is the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland actually develops from where? From the thyroglossal duct only it will develop. And there is a lateral thyroid also from the fourth pouch. The lateral thyroid will develop from the fourth pouch. So in short, if I will like to summarize it, so in the development of thyroid gland, you have to mention about the foramen caecum, which is present beneath the tuberculum impar. The tuberculum impar is a swelling which separates the two mandibular arches, and from this foramen caecum only there is a development of diverticulum, which is known as thyroglossal duct, and the thyroglossal duct will again bifid at the lower end and it will gradually develop into the thyroid. So the descent of a thyroid is completed by the 6th week of the intrauterine life. So pharyngeal arches are formed at the age of 4th to 5th week of intrauterine life, and the development of thyroid gland starts from the 5th week only, and the complete descent takes 6th to 7th week of intrauterine life. Now this is only the thyroglossal duct. If the patency remain like that, if it is not obliterated, then obviously it will form the thyroglossal cyst also, and it can form a thyroglossal fistula as well. So I hope you all have got my point that the thyroid gland develops from the foramen caecum. From there only diverticulum arises, thyroglossal duct, and thyroglossal duct only forms the thyroid gland. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video.